So one of the reasons why I say be careful with getting management is because sometimes people don't have your best interest at heart.
Back to Just That Music and Life. Today I am doing a video. Basically, I just want to do a talk through video. First, I want to say thank you to all of people who subscribe to this channel. Thanks for helping me get to 100 subscribers. And I hope you stay subscribed, and I hope that you're enjoying the journey on this channel. So once again, give it a thumbs up at the end of this video, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell, and become part of the team. I want to quickly talk about, well, I'm in the studio because, as I said, I'm working on some new music. So this is my screen with the songs that I'm doing, and it's called Say You Like It. And as you see, these sounds came from GarageBand. Like there's the kick, the bass line, clap, hats, main keys, piano, hit string, and this is what it looks like. So when the producers and the engineers are behind the screen, this is basically what's going on. I would love to share with you guys. I can't wait to share with you guys. It's just not finished and it's not copywritten, so I can't put it out yet. But it's coming. It's coming, I promise. But I wanted to talk a little bit today about women in the business. There's not a lot of women producers or like women engineers on this side of the field, and I am just becoming, I'm new at producing, I'm just learning, you know, some things about engineering, and it's really, you know, it's such an important part of being an artist. Like, one of the things you need to know is, as an artist, whether you're a singer, a songwriter, a musician, whatever it is, as an artist, you need to sometimes know a little bit about both ends. What's going on behind the scenes, you know, more than, you know, just being in the front on the stage, playing an instrument, singing, whatever it is, whatever your art is, you need to know more about what's going on behind the scenes. So the first thing is, when you are singing and recording and you're in the booth and you're just doing your thing, unless it's a relationship that you've developed through time with an engineer or a musician or you know, someone that you're close to, and you know and you understand that this person has your best interest at heart, a lot of the times you'll go into studios and they won't care what you sound like. They will give you any type of feedback you want to hear. Why? Because, you know, you paying them and they're growing their bag, you're emptying your bag, and are you getting the best quality that you can possibly get? I always tell my vocal students that before you go in a studio to book studio time, first do your research. Who is this person? You know, what is his, you know, genre of music? What has he done? Who has he worked with? Simply because you want to at least know that you're getting a quality product without just spending your money. The second thing is, try to be prepared before you go into the studio, because as you know, studio time means money. So anybody that knows you're coming in with money is going to allow you to spend as much time as you possibly want to spend. And at the end of that session, you have to pay. I can't say that I've had bad experiences because I've always worked with professionals. I was just, you know, blessed that way. But I know people that have come to me and that were like, oh my God, you know, this was my demo and it sounds really crappy and I'm not happy with it. And when they tell me the dollar amount that they paid, it's astonishing. If you're an artist watching this, a singer, you know, musician, and you are interested in or have previously booked studio time and we're not happy with your product, that's some of the things that you have to consider before you actually go into the studio. That doing as much work at home as possible is what you want to do. That's where you want to be. That's where you're going to save time, you're going to save money, you're going to save energy, save yourself that headache. Because if you're a singer like I am, right? So, and that's why I talk about GarageBand all the time, because like, with me working with GarageBand, it saves so much time before I go into the studio. By the time I get into the studio, my stuff is done. I may be adding, parts, and as you know, like I always talk about the MP, which is behind me, making sounds fuller or adding sounds that I didn't necessarily add in GarageBand. So it's a creative process, but it's not starting from scratch. Some people have booked studio time, and when they tell me the dollar amount, I'm like, why were you in this so long? Oh, because I had to write, I had to come up with ideas, melodies, brainstorm. Brainstorm at home. Try and make sure that you've done your research, you've done your warm-up, any type of writing or anything like that that you have, try to get that done at home. If someone is writing for you, see if you can get that person to send you either the track, the lyrics, reference vocals, whatever it may be, so that you can work on it before you get into the studio and book studio time. When you go into the studio and you have an idea that you are comfortable with and that you like, and you have a melody that you like, don't let anybody, flip-flop you from that. Don't switch and change your mind, because I have met producers that are very pushy and they will take over the entire project. So you have to stick with your vibe and bring to the table what you know. Be confident in what you know, stand up for what you know, and don't falter from that. Now, if it's an idea that you're like, oh, this is cool, this is dope, I really, really like it, then by all means do it. You know what I mean? But if it's something where it's like, oh, what about this? Oh, I think this sounds dope here. We're going to put this here. We're going to put that there. And you're sitting on the side. That's not where you want to be. So you have to boss up and basically have that session that you're paying for. It's your money. You're paying for it. Run that session. Now, if you're going in and you're doing like a collaboration with writing with a producer and blah, 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 those types of things, and that's going to take time. That's a little bit different. But at the same time, make sure you're able to put your input in. Because I've actually sat in a writing session and barely had an opportunity to write. Like, don't waste my time. If you want to do it, then just do it. So another thing is getting a manager. When do you need a manager? Okay, so I'm going to say need a manager. You don't really need a manager until much further in with your career. And it's optional. If you want to get a manager right away, then that's up to you. No problem, no judgment. But if you don't have, some sort of know-how about the industry, you can get taken to the bank.
So one of the reasons why I say be careful with getting management is because sometimes people don't have your best interest at heart. So I'm going to give a little background story about myself. So when I was about 16, 17, all the way up till like 18, 19, I'm not going to say anybody's names, but I had this woman that was a manager for me. And it seemed as though she had all the connects, like the right people. We were walking through the right doors. And she seemed to know the business or know people in the business, okay? So there were no real flags. Like there was no, anything that was alarming to me per se. And I kind of was like, I was young, I didn't know, my mom didn't know about the business, whatever. And we trusted this person because we knew this person. So it was like, okay, we know this person, and she works with kids, so this got to be, it must be good. So long story short, so I was recording in studios. I was sitting in on different sessions. I was opening up for this group called The Boys. I don't know if you guys remember them, but I was young, but I opened up for them at the Beacon Theater, so things were moving and they were rolling, and I was thinking like, oh, this has got to be something that's great. When I got to sing for the president of Sony Records, it was like a dream come true. It was like, oh my God, like I'm actually here singing for, Sony Records. And of course, as a young girl, you're excited, and this is like what you've always wanted to do. So somehow that fell through, and I was just like, I never really knew what happened. I never really knew like why you know, because he was like, you know, he loved me. He definitely wanted to, you know, work out some contracts and get some things started, get the ball rolling. And I had to write a song for this audition. Like, he wanted me to actually write a song and come in and sing the song that I wrote. And I wrote the song, and I don't remember it now, but I did write a song, and I came in, I sang it, it all went well. Everything was like great. A couple weeks later, I asked, like, you know, my manager, like, what happened? What happened with the deal? And she's like, oh, it fell through, you know, there, you know, it's a bunch of hogwash, and, you know, gave me some excuse. So as I got older and the years grew on, I bumped into someone that I had worked with in the studio, and I had did some recording of some songs with. And we did a little catching up, and then I was like, you know, I told him about the story, and I was like, you know, I never knew what happened. I come to find out, they were like, it was her. People didn't want to deal with her. You know, her personality, who she, you know, who she came off as, or whatever the case may be. And like I said, I wasn't there. I don't know how those meetings went. I don't know what was being said. I don't know anything. I didn't know anything because I trusted this person, and I was just like, okay, well then, you know, they just tell me what's going on, and then that's just what happens. And this is why I say be aware, be involved, you know what's going on, because I had a lot of opportunities blown for me, but it was a learning curve. It was definitely something that I learned from, and this is the reason why I'm telling you guys, before you jump up and get a manager, make sure that this manager represents you. And I don't mean represent, you know, like literally, like of course they represent you. I mean represent you as a person, your vibe, your morals, you know, what you like, what you don't like. Make sure that you're one-on-one with this person, because it can really, you know, where doors were opening, it can slam doors back in your face. So you have to be very, very careful with getting a manager, because it can, you know, delay or even sometimes stop your career altogether. And do your research, like I said, because, you know, this person, you know, had a business, this person knew a lot of people, this person was like showing themselves worthy, you know, so to speak, and they weren't. This is why I'm like so adamant about know what's going on behind the scenes, because sometimes you have to speak for yourself. Sometimes you have to represent yourself. And if that's the case, then no problem. You know, it's more work for you as an artist, but do your research, do your work, and I promise you that will pay off better than getting someone to represent you. That's not representation of you.
Now, a manager can be great. You know, it's definitely something that some people will need, or, you know, you may venture out to get. But understand, when you get a manager, that person is now speaking for you, representing you, you know. So if you and that person are not like on the same page, then you might not want to deal with that type of a manager. So don't forget, guys, study your craft, be involved, know what's going on, be informed, and stay informed. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was helpful to somebody. Give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell, and I'll see you in the next video.